There is a document that every business owner signs at some point. It has a number on it and a signature line at the bottom. The number feels enormous the first time. By the fifth time, you have stopped reading the number and started reading the terms. That distance between someone who fears business debt and someone who uses it is not intelligence. It is experience. And experience in business almost always comes with debt. This is your life at every level of business debt, from 0 to $10 million. Level 0, $0, no debt. At $0 of business debt, you are one of two things: just starting, or never started at all. Both feel like safety. Only one of them is. The person at $0 has options nobody else has. They can walk away, change their mind. No consequences, no sleepless nights. This feels like freedom. It isn't. What it is optionlessness disguised as freedom. The freedom to stay exactly where you are. Most people stay at $0 their entire lives, not because they lack ability, because the first step into debt felt too permanent. Too real. They were right. It is all of those things. They were wrong that those things are reasons not to do it. Debt is not the danger. Staying at $0 forever and calling it a plan is. Level 1, $3,400. First business debt. $3,400. That is the average first business debt of a first-generation entrepreneur. Not a bank loan, a credit card, usually spent in 3 weeks. Before the debt, the business was a hobby, an idea, something you talked about. After the debt, it is real, because real things can fail. You check your bank account differently now, not once a week, 3 times a day. You do the math in the shower. If I get 2 clients, if I sell 12 units, if everything goes slightly better than expected, you do not do the math for when things go worse. Not yet. That comes later. $3,400 does not teach you finance. It teaches you that risk is physical, that it lives in your chest, not your head, that there is no amount of planning that removes it. You simply have to learn to function with it there. That is the only lesson. And it is worth every cent. Level 2, $47,000. Real debt. Somewhere between $3,400 and $47,000, the debt stopped keeping you up at night. Not because it got smaller, because you got used to it. $47,000 is a business loan with a repayment schedule. A monthly obligation that does not care how last month went. This is when most people start lying to themselves. They look at the revenue and call it profit. They avoid the spreadsheet that shows the net position, because the net position is $47,000 underwater, and looking at it feels like drowning. Here is the only thing that matters at this level. Vague debt is terrifying. Specific debt is a project. Name the number. Give it a repayment date. Make it specific enough to be solved. Vague debt is a monster. Specific debt is a spreadsheet. Level 3, $280,000. Serious debt. At $280,000, the debt becomes personal. Your name is on the loan. Sometimes your home. The bank is not lending to the business anymore. The bank is lending to you. The Sunday nights change at $280,000. There is a version of Sunday evening that exists only for people who carry serious debt, where the week ahead feels like a hallway of closed doors, where a voice arrives, the one that wasn't there at $3,400. The voice asks, "What if you're wrong?" The people who survived this level drew a line before the debt got serious, a specific number above which they stop. restructure, change the model. Most people draw the line after they need it. Decide your debt ceiling before you need it. Level 4, $1,200,000. Critical debt. At $1,200,000, something breaks. Not the business, you. Not dramatically. It is a Tuesday afternoon in the car park outside the office, and you cannot make yourself go inside. Not because you are afraid, because you are tired in a way that sleep does not fix. $1,200,000 means payroll depends on revenue that hasn't come in yet. The credit line drawn last month is drawn again this month. The bank is watching now in a way they weren't before. This is the level where the strong ones quit. The ones who held on at $3,400, who carried $280,000 through the Sunday nights. At $1,200,000, those same people sometimes stop. Because the debt is no longer something you manage. It has become something that manages you. The ones who survive do one thing differently. They stop trying to grow their way out. They fix the gap first. Cut the cost, renegotiate the terms, get honest with the numbers in a way that growth never requires. And when they come out the other side, they are ready for what comes next. You cannot grow your way out of a structural gap. Level 5, $10 million, empire debt. At $10 million of business debt, something strange happens. The number stops feeling like debt. It is still $10 million that belongs to someone else, secured against everything you built, repayable on a schedule that does not care about your feelings. But it stops feeling like debt because of what it is doing. It is buying you leverage, speed, scale, the ability to move at a pace your competitors cannot match because their capital is sitting still while yours is moving. The bank that wouldn't return your call at $47,000 is now calling you. Not because you changed, because your data did. At $3,400, debt was a fear. At $280,000, debt was a pressure. At $1,200,000, debt nearly broke you. At $10 million, debt is a vehicle. That transformation is not a personality trait you were born with. It is a scar that became armor. It is every level below this one. Lived through and survived. That first loan agreement, the one for $3,400, you still have it. One page, a number, a signature line, and your name at the bottom in the handwriting of someone who was terrified. Beside it now is another document. Nobody starts knowing how to carry debt. Nobody starts with the capacity this life requires. The carrying builds the muscle. The muscle makes the next level possible. The question is how many levels you are willing to carry before you get there.